Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It's Marvin speaking. We're just gonna. I know that I've gone through this before, but I think it's really, really important with the inquest coming up about Jay Slater, what Mark Williams Thomas is going to do next. What I'm worried about is that this documentary is going to go in line with Jay having an accident and falling into a ravine, which obviously we don't believe. And he says that there's much more information he wants to share with us. But how long are we going to wait for this information? So I'm going to just break down what he said. Again, I think this is vitally important because, like I said, I think we need this information now.
So I'm now back on social media. I took a small break, and one of the questions that I got asked lots and lots through direct messaging, because my direct messages are open, was an update in relation to Jay Slater. I went out, did the investigation, worked very closely with the family, and as a result of that got a lot of information, but also a lot of information from potential witnesses, people involved, people who knew Jay, and also from the authorities in a roundabout way. They weren't directly talking to me, but I was in contact with people who were in contact with the authorities. And one of the things that's very clear is, of course, there's a huge amount of misinformation. I've been back and looked through some of the videos that I took. So when I went out there, I took a lot of videos in relation to my investigation, but also thought processes of whilst that investigation was going on. And one of the interesting aspects of it is, as is always the case for every investigation, is you find information out and you look at that, and then a couple of days later that information changes or it's evidenced in some way. And it's quite interesting. Some of the information that came to me in the very early days wasn't accurate, wasn't correct, and I needed to validate. And I was in a unique position because of course I had access to the family, had access to mobile phone records, I had access to friends. And in fact, all of the friends communicated with me. There wasn't a single friend.
The thing is, if he says there wasn't a single friend who stepped away, how many people did he talk to? Who did he talk to? And what was said in those early days would could it be? Because it's more likely to be the truth, because people would have been very, very scared. Their heads all over the place. In a place into what happened to Jay. So, like I said, I think a lot of people thought, even though Mark Williams is an online private detective, you would have thought a lot of people maybe thought he was working for the police because apparently all the information he was given to the police, well, this is what he said.
Who stepped away and didn't want to communicate. And they all had their own story to tell, and obviously they all had concerns, some of them, because of what they were up to and their involvement. But they all participated. They all engaged with me.
Involvement in what? That needs to be dissected and put out there. You know, you're saying all these things. Who are these? You know, is there an outer circle that were involved with this? You know, there were other people who were with Jay that wasn't involved in his disappearance but knew what happened to him. You know, it could be 10, 20, 30, 40 people that he's had information from. At the end of the day, I do think he knows a lot more, and I do think he needs to put that out there.
Even to the point of the two males who went back with Jay to their apartment. You know, one of them was in real contact with me. I was talking to him, he was providing me a lot of information. The only person I didn't get to speak to was the other male that was with him. But everybody else that I needed to speak to, I did speak to. So, where's this going? Well, I've spoken in the last few days to Debbie. She had a long conversation with me, very pleasant. We got on very well. There's no issue with that at all. And in fact, she really struggled during this period of time, and rightly so. You know, she's a mother who's lost a child, and not just that, but was in the eye of the media storm. This was an inquiry case that hit the headlines, not just in the UK, but actually worldwide. People became fascinated, and it took on a life of its own. And as a result of that, lots of conspiracy theories, lots of people with their own views in terms.
I mean, a lot of those theories Mark put out there themselves in thinking this could be something to do with underground rugs group, and now this. And even Danny said in the chat there, he's on about Sam Walker, which is very, very interesting, because Sam Walker's been mentioned a few times, and putting it out there that he thinks that Sam thinks obviously Jay was SHOT at the end of the day, for losing, or for losing Ruggs. And look, nobody comes out with that. He knows the game, Sam. Nobody comes out with that if you're not sure what's happened. And he has a lot of intelligence in the underground Ruggs world as well. We do know that.
Of what happened, but I had the uniqueness because I was literally in the heart of it, able to establish information from different parties, collect that information, and then look to see what evidential value it had. I was very clear from day one that this looked like a tragic accident.
It looked like a tragic accident, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It looked like, because of what he heard. But like I said, just because you hear something, it doesn't mean it's actually true. And obviously the conflicting stories, he must have dissected that, being an ex-police officer.
But of course I needed to investigate it, and I remained open-minded throughout the whole of that investigation, and was very clear that actually, whilst there were considerable issues that existed, and I haven't revealed the details of all those issues, and exactly, kind of why Jay left in the manner he did, why he didn't want to return, those things I've kept to myself at this present moment in time. And maybe when the time is right, I will reveal those. I've got to be very careful. What I don't want to do is upset the family any more trauma than they've already had. And so it would be something.
But he's already done that, saying that he's going to put information out there that Debbie apparently didn't know. Was it information where he was going to throw people under the bus and then decided not to do it? To be honest, I'd rather all come out at the end of the day, because we know that Debbie didn't know what he was going to say.
I would work very closely with Debbie and the family to reveal that information. And maybe the time will be right soon to be able to do that, but not right now. So I hope you respect me in relation to that.
Did he say not right now because of the investigation coming up, and he just wants to maybe see what else happens, whether there is going to be criminal investigation involved due to the inquest, or people being called? You just don't know. But him saying that, there must be still investigations going on. This is why I think he's not said anything.
I'll give you some more updates, not just in relation to the Jay Slater case, when that's ready, but also some of the other cases I'm dealing with. I've got a fascinating case where I've tracked down a wanted individual in another country. And the question is now, can I get to that country and confront him? It's a dangerous country. And at this present moment in time, the suggestion is that it's too dangerous to go to. But he's wanted in the UK. I've tracked him down. I've found him. He was convicted in his absence. So I want to go and confront him and actually put that out there in the world so everybody knows what this guy is about. You never know. It may force the authorities there to get him to come back, or at least, at the very least, it will show that the authorities are separate to them but haven't given up. And for the victims out there, it also shows that they haven't been forgotten. Anyway, more on that. I'll give you a specific update just in relation to that. But until then, enjoy your day and look after yourself.
Is he after? I'm just wondering, right at the end of the day, does he need to talk to Sam Walker about the case as well as other things? The Jay Slater case, it does actually make you wonder, doesn't it? We're going to go straight over. Just bear with me.
Now, I don't know whether I have fallen and bumped my head at some time today, but I'm pretty sure that Mark Williams Thomas's new reply video to Jay Slater's mum going to the media and asking him to stop mentioning her son unless he was going to put out what he knew, and to stop using her son for self-promotion, PR. His response to that is to say, actually, no, I'm really close to Jay's mum, disregarding everything she's just said, and then blamed it on everyone else on TikTok and social media who has talked about Jay's case, or indeed called him out for actually making a video to advertise a new case he's working on, using Jay Slater at the beginning of that video in order to pique everyone's interest. And now he's trying to put it on everyone else, who apparently is upsetting Jay's mum, when actually she's called you out by name in the newspaper. So to me, this is a guy again trying to play the hero in every situation, and still he's avoided saying this absolute miracle evidence that he apparently has of why Jay...
Yeah, I agree. He needs to put that out there, because if he's got a timeline of actually Jay being at the Airbnb, then he should tell us, because like I said, I still don't actually believe he was alive when he was at the Airbnb. And I do think that the lady who apparently saw him, the Airbnb owner or manager, Ophelia, that was a load of balls, because I don't think she actually saw him, especially when you see Roman in the background of some of these early investigations, just looking in as well. I mean, I think there were so many people involved into this case, and I believe, like I said, Haley commented, let's get it all out there in an open. If he's got a timeline, what's he waiting for? And I just think this if he's going to bring out a documentary and not get grief for it, I think he needs to tell us what evidence he's got and proof of Jay's timeline. I think that is vitally, vitally important to this case. And then once you've got that timeline, then you can go and make a documentary, because then we know it's true as the public. But to go out and make a documentary of some of the stuff he hasn't said yet is diabolical. You cannot do that, because I think people will be absolutely fuming.
Jay left the Airbnb and why he was too scared to go back. But apparently him and Debbie are really good. It's all been blown out of proportion. And he is in a unique view where he had access to everybody in the case apart from Rocky. Yet still got no closer to solving anything or telling anyone what happened. I wonder if he remembers saying that he would solve the whole thing within 3 days.
Good point. He may have done. He may have done, because he's still possibly liaising with the police. He hasn't put that out there yet, because maybe he was told not to by the police, and he's just keeping that until maybe the inquest is over. And if the inquest is an accident, maybe he has more information to put out there to confirm it wasn't an accident. I mean, we've got to give him the chance to do it, because at least then we'll know whether he's just on a moneymaker or he does know a lot more than what we think. Let me know, because I think we're in crucial time now on this case, and who says what next. And I think in the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to have something very, very big. And plus, obviously, we've got Abe's video coming out. But I do think what Mark Williams Thomas says next will either give us new information and an actual timeline which is factual, or not at all. But I hope that I'm wrong, and that at least we'll get a timeline, a proper timeline, which we haven't had before. I mean, we got some factual information, but not enough. And we're obviously, me, Ali, and others are still talking to people who were involved. Well, not involved, but actually know what happened to Jay. But like I said, we've got to be actually very, very careful in what information we put out there. Thank you for subscribing to Streamline Entertainment. It's very, very important to get any little information or factual stuff out now, because like I said, we all know this was never an accident. Thank you.